If you love scoring amazing hotel deals, you've got to use Hotel Tonight. I've used them. I love them. Forget scrolling through never-ending list of hotels. Hotel Tonight shows you a select list of incredible deals at cool hotels you actually want to stay at. And even though the name's Hotel Tonight, you could book in advance, not just at the last minute. It's perfect for spontaneous weekend getaways, 3-day weekends, staycations, road trips, business trips, booking a place with a pool, and more. Hotel Tonight is fantastic. It's easy to use. I love it. My friends love it. Hotel Tonight partners with great hotels to get you incredible deals for tonight, tomorrow, and beyond. In fact, a friend of mine recently up in New York City, I told him about the app. He needed a hotel room that night. He used it that day and got himself at one of the nicest hotels in New York City, got himself 40% off what he would normally pay for that hotel. It is simple, guys. To start scoring amazing deals at incredible hotels, go to HotelTonight.com or download the app right now.
Welcome to Belk, official retail department store of the SEC. With department stores in the Southeast, we get your passion. We know it's more than a game, it's a way of life, and part of the modern Southern lifestyle we deliver every day. At Belk, you'll find new looks from the best brands like Michael Kors, Fry, Free People, Under Armour, and more. All at great prices you'll love, the fashion you desire, the value you deserve. That's modern Southern style. Experience it today in store or at Belk.com.
This is the best of the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz podcast.
Am I interrupting you, Stugotz? Am I interrupting you?
No, not at all. Mike and I just having a friendly conversation.
Is the radio show starting an interruption to your conversations? Like, go ahead and tell the audience what you guys are talking about, because you come at me and you're like, I got a stat of the day. What about Nathan Peterman? Mike, he's on ADD and ADD medication and maybe Oxycontin. And he comes in here, football started, and he's just spitting in every direction. Like, he was just doing a private show for you of jokes as we waited for him to start the show we would do nationally.
Peeling back the curtain, Stugotz notoriously has been really lazy and inefficient when it comes to his weekend observations. And there was a time there that I thought we had an agreement that he would send me these fully baked weekend observations before I got into the studio so I can edit them and finish them off. And he sent it just as the mics were turning on. And for the last few months, I have to be honest, there is one constant in the weekend observations, and it's the Art Briles joke. He's been forgetting it every time, as if he doesn't know what the hell we do around here.
This is how we age, though. I'm forgetting things, names, I'm getting confused and disoriented inside the show, and his sloppiness and general laziness are only going to get worse as he decays.
Last week, I have to be honest, I just saw Briles' name, and I didn't even read the last part, and that's what happened with the whole clunky thing with Art Briles Mike, wasn't in hell yet.
This is how long Stugotz has been hitting these notes, that sometimes he's the lead singer on stage who forgets the lyrics. Like, he knows that everyone's waiting for the Art Briles joke at the end. Ham-fisted, stuck in there, a reach by any measure.
Right. I did send, in fairness to me, I did send these to you, and I've tried to do this consistently for the last few months. I did send these to you at around 10:30 last night. I did, right as Aaron Rodgers was doing magical things.
The title was, I'll Have More. And I never got more until the lights went on, and it's missing the Art Briles joke, man.
Yeah.
You know, Elvis Presley, I heard a Malcolm Gladwell podcast on this. After he broke up with Priscilla, he just stopped knowing the words, "Are You Lonesome Tonight?"
I heard that too. He had some strange hiccup and short-circuited emotional hiccup there where he'd get on stage and forget his lines. Is that what's going on with Stugotz? He thinks he's Elvis. Stugotz walks through a room as if he's Elvis.
And I think Greenie is his Priscilla Presley.
So I'll get to football in a second, because the football was fun this weekend, and Aaron Rodgers stole the game from Khalil Mack, and in doing so stole the entire day in terms of storylines with the way that he finished the football day. The thing we're talking about now is the last thing we saw, which is like, you got to be kidding me. Which to me is the entire Packer experience since he's been there. Aaron Rodgers hobbling around on one leg, and you see what happened, and carrying the entire team on his back.
Still throwing to Randall Cobb.
Still throwing to number 18, and behind them they got a running back who's number 88, or that was last year, or Ripkowski, or whatever that guy's name is.
Yeah.
They surround him. He is a diamond in a dumpster. He is a rose growing out of a sewer. He is a master of such uncommon creative art that when Deshaun Kaiser, who I learned yesterday was a Packer, again, I want to do this today. 1-786-456-4837 is the telephone number. 786-456-4837. Who did you discover played where yesterday? I just want you to drive by with a name because we were doing this in the first. When Malcolm Butler's a Titan. We discovered that yesterday. Janikowski's with the Seahawks.
Yep. JPP is a buck.
JPP is a buck.
Looked explosive yesterday. What? My God.
So Aaron Rodgers, when he's not in the game, you see what happens with Deshaun Kaiser, which is in a staggering, a breathtaking amount of lack of pocket presence. Like just stupefying. Decides, you know where I'm going to run? Toward Khalil Mack. It's the single dumbest thing a quarterback can do throughout the sport.
Is run into Khalil Mack.
That's the closest thing I've seen to Lawrence Taylor. That human being is the closest thing I've seen since. Totally unblockable. Just not. And I felt so bad for him that Aaron Rodgers took his day. And he took the entire league's storylines because we're not going to be talking about Nathan Peterman. We might talk some about the Browns to make fun of them and the Steelers pooping through overtime. But what he did yesterday was totally absurd. He gets carted off, and we all had the same feeling, Stugotz. There goes their season. Their season's done now. How many guys can you say that about? Is it 3? How many guys can you say it about that if they go down on week 1, you're like, the season's over?
Yeah, I think it's Rodgers, Brady, and Fitzpatrick.
This is Fitzpatrick, unbelievable yesterday. You all had him in fantasy, right? Good God. What was that? He does that once every 3 or 4 years. He also does 6 interceptions in a game because that dude is delusionally confident given his general stature. Delusionally.
Yes, he really is.
Like, how do you go from throwing, didn't he have like a 6 interception game or 7 interceptions that cost him the Jets job?
He's also had a 7 touchdown game for Houston. That's a Fitz magic, man. It's just it's a wider Jameis Winston experience.
But you know what? Let me ask you this question. How great would it be? Because I think Ryan Fitzpatrick is harmed here by his Harvard. If I gave you just the same playing style and made it Johnny Manziel, we'd love that dude.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
yeah.
If I just gave Johnny Manziel the success, I'm putting it in quotes, of Ryan Fitzpatrick, this style where, yes, I'm just going to throw it right into your face and I'm going to run face first into your entire defense. My beard is going face first here. I don't care. It's 3rd and 3. I'm going to get those 4 yards, even if I have to, like, javelin myself through your defensive tackle's face mask.
You desperately want that guy. You would.
But if Ryan Fitzpatrick he's harmed by his resume. Harvard, that playing style, we'd love it if it was if Baker Mayfield plays like that.
Wish we would have saw it yesterday.
Oh, he was so bad.
Tyrod?
Yes.
Tyrod. I mean, how do you underthrow that shot? I was screaming, take a shot, no! And then I took a shot afterwards. How do you underthrow that ball in that situation? He's reputed to not turn the ball over. How did they come back, and how are they down 14 points when they had a turnover margin of +5?
Well, that's the stat of the day. Let's do this here real quick. In Minnesota, by the way, we are now carried live in Minnesota, ESPN 1500. We should actually do just a Viking segment next. Just all Vikings. Maybe call Bud Grant. We've got a little bit of a fan base out there. We were on delay out there, and now 1500 has decided to give us their live show a regular place in their lineup. So stick with us on this. I know you want your Vikings football. We're going to give it to you in the next segment. In fact, Allison, find me just, Raghorn. What's the name of their mascot? Ragnar. The fired litigious mascot. Yeah. Just find me a bunch of people we could talk to so we could break down that Minnesota game, devote a segment to just Minnesota. But before we do that, we have dueling stats of the day here on your Cleveland Browns that will allow you to make fun of the Cleveland Browns. Give it to me. Give me the short version of this so we can hurry up and get to Vikings football, Mike.
Start of the day, start of the day, it is the start of the day. Start of the day, start of the day, it is the start of the day. Start of the day, start of the day, it is the start of the day. Start of the day, start of the day, it is the start of the day.
This is courtesy of Bill Barnwell on Twitter. He sent it out yesterday. The Browns are +5 in takeaways today. Since the Browns returned to the NFL, teams with a turnover margin of +5 or better in a game are 132-4-1. The Browns are responsible for 2 of those losses and the tie.
That's amazing. Here's another stat of the day. In fact, Guillermo, put it on the poll. Which one of these stats is worse or better? Stugotz's stat of the day or Dan's stat of the day? Because I'm taking this from a texter. I don't know. I haven't double-checked it, but I hope it's true and it sounds true. Stat of the day. Since their reintroduction in 1999, the quarterback with the most wins at Cleveland Browns Stadium is Ben Roethlisberger.
It's true. Here's another stat of the day.
You like mine? Do you like mine? You like mine, but that's amazing.
Can I have one? The Browns are off to their best start since 2004.
All 3. Put them all up. Put all 3 of them up there, Guillermo, and have people pick. Those are all great stats of the day.
Dan Batard.
Man, you have no journalistic responsibility.
Stugotz.
Yep, and I love it.
This is the Dan Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
So we couldn't get Ragnar the Viking or Bud Grant or former Governor Jesse the Body Ventura. So just talk about Jimmy Garoppolo throwing the ball 3 times for an interception. I don't know.
How about Ken Herbeck?
Wasn't available.
Need game tickets? Find your seats at Vivid Seats, the official ticket partner of ESPN. Enter promo code ESPN at checkout. Receive 10% off your order today. Vivid Seats, the Dan Lebitard Show, is brought to you by the Home Depot, a proud sponsor of the College Game Day Tour, live this Saturday from Arlington, Texas, as Ohio State takes on TCU. It's a play-in game. The Home Depot, the next generation of home improvement with everything you need to do projects smarter. The Home Depot, more saving, more doing.
I can try for the kid from Little Big League or something to make the people at ESPN 1500 Twin Cities happy.
Well, I do want to please these people. Minnesota has been very good to us, as have been some of their longtime columnists. So I want to make a public announcement now that is super rare for the media gas bag that is Dan Lebitard.
Wow.
I was wrong about Kirk Cousins.
Whoa.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Mm-hmm. Minnesota soaked this in. It's like every 15 years he'll admit he's wrong, and he's doing it for you today.
Sink it in, Twin Cities. Strap it on. Kirk Cousins is going to be perfect there as a bit of a pioneer, right? Because he just got in that violent sport, the dorky quarterback of the Vikings. And we can say this, right? Some of these guys are a little bit dorky. Andrew Luck is dorky, right? Is Kirk Cousins dorky? Am I okay saying that even?
Of course you can. Have you seen how the man grills his steaks on social media? I believe he wants to raise his child with an English accent.
Do you know what he's doing, though? What he trademarked here? Do you guys know what he trademarked?
No.
Yeah, I do.
What?
You like that?
Oh, man. Goosebumps.
Goosebumps from Stugotz, the highest praise you can get. He vikes that.
I like that.
He vikes it. I'm sorry, I stepped on your joke.
Yeah, he's a bit dorky. I would say Eli Manning falls in that same category.
But he's going to work well with those skill guys. He performed.
Well, Case Keenum did. I mean,
yes, well, everyone did. Sam Bradford did. Those skill guys and that defense. I think we could say, right, without knowing what the Patriots defense is, but assuming it's going to do what it does every year, that the Vikings are the second most balanced team in the sport. No, because Jacksonville's lopsided.
Right. Green Bay is certainly lopsided. I mean, it's one guy, right?
Right. But
a lot of people thought the Saints would be a balanced team. Their defense.
But you see in Minnesota, we all know their defense is good. We're all going to say their defense is top 5 in the league. When you think of defenses, you think of Jacksonville, you think of them. That it's a violent defense. that yesterday, and that's not Garoppolo. Garoppolo didn't get all that money being a turnover machine. Like Minnesota does that to you. And then on top of that, their skill guys, you can make the argument, are the best outside of Pittsburgh. So now you put Kirk Cousins in that and you ask him to sort of be more than a game manager, be Alex Smith, who makes some more of the long plays. And now you give him those skill guys. You got to Vike that. And so he's a dorky pioneer. And we all know Minnesota's good, right? We know this. We know Minnesota's good. We know Jacksonville will go as far as its quarterback. Like, we know Jacksonville is going to be a rampage.
Yes, we know the Vikings are good. We know Jacksonville is good. We know the Patriots are good.
I do feel like this is – how many years have we gone in here in the last few years? Because that was a bit of a stunner yesterday, what happened with the Saints. A lot of people are thinking because the Saints have all that skill talent, and they have a ton of skill talent on offense.
Yes.
A lot of people are thinking that the Saints are one of those teams. But how many of the years have we gone into asking the question, because of what Mike's analysis was, that there are 20 teams in this league that could go – between 6-10 and 10-6, and they're all vying right now for the tiebreakers because all of them, it's the Titans, it's the Dolphins, they're all in this mess, in this hodgepodge of tiebreakers already after week one,
vying for a couple of wild card spots.
Right.
Yes.
And so that you got 20 of those, and it's pretty infrequent that we know, hey, who's good? Who do we know is good? Who is likely to win the division? So you got how many of those right now?
I think you have Jacksonville as 1. I think you have the Patriots as 2. I think Minnesota is a third one. I think a lot of people feel that way about Kansas City.
Yeah, I was going to say, what about Kansas City?
Because they've got big plays now? You're willing to do that with Mahomes? You guys are willing to do that already after one game of Mahomes?
Well, I mean, they have such skilled players around Mahomes. Kareem Hunt, and they have Sammy Watkins and Tyreek Hill, who was great again yesterday. Travis Kelce. I mean, and he had 4 touchdowns, Mahomes. It was good.
Yeah, and the play calls were super creative. This was a team that was a quarterback away, and they just needed a quarterback to take more shots downfield. Mahomes is going to do that.
But this is the problem that Minnesota has, and I'm sorry to tell you this today, ESPN 1500 Twin Cities, as we have told you all of these nice things. I thought all of the things that I just said, and then my every viewpoint was turned upside down, as often happens with love when you love somebody, because I saw you winning your division, Minnesota, until I saw, and I feel like you guys all saw it too, coming out on a white horse last night, shirtless and oiled up. My beloved Valentine, Aaron Rodgers, came and just said, look, I know you thought our season was done a half ago, and here is the return of our season right now. And he did to Chicago what he's been doing to Chicago for 10 years. And Minnesota, that is the thing that you need to fear most in your conference from anybody. It isn't Jacksonville over there. It's not the Patriots over there. The thing that you need to fear is right in your division. And good God, was he sexy last night.
And guess what we get week 2, Dan? Vikings at Packers.
Wow. Giant one. Wow. A giant one.
I like that.
Demand once more money.
Put on the poll, Guillermo. You like that. Yes or no?
Don Le Batard.
Did Kevin Hart look like something that would be hanging from Joel Embiid's keychain? Like a rabbit's foot?
Stugotz.
Do young people know what I'm talking about right now when I mention rabbit feet as a keychain? Guillermo, Chris, Roy, Mike. Does this even predate you guys?
Why would a rabbit's foot be lucky? It wasn't lucky for the rabbit.
I have no idea what you're talking about. I remember seeing like a blue one, and I'm like, I've never seen blue rabbits. This doesn't seem real.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Wow, that's an upset. Not because it's you, Roy. It's just I don't understand how it is that I'm so old. I'm making references that nobody in my crew understands except for Roy.
No, I get it. I just don't understand why people consider it lucky.
Right?
I mean, some poor rabbit lost its foot.
Yeah.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Guests on the Dan Le Batard Show appear via the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line.
What was that you were mumbling before you started reading this? Mumbling under your breath very quietly to Billy.
Guillermo and I were just discussing. Guillermo keeps putting this in my ear, and he's right. It was Randall Cobb who made that play. I mean, Aaron Rodgers flicked the ball about 9 yards to to Randall Cobb. Randall Cobb did the rest.
With perfect timing to a Randall Cobb who wasn't actually open, placing it right in its teeth.
I mean, I love Aaron as much as you do, Dan, but come on. Randall did the majority of the work on that play.
That is the most beautiful pass in the history of thrown things was in that game to that Geronimo guy.
And Fuller did drop that interception right before.
Well, that's true. That's true. Got lucky there.
I mean, what are we doing here?
It was like a spaceship landed on the field when I saw that with a ball thrown perfectly to somebody other than one of his guys.
I'm not certain how good he was last night, to be honest with you. I mean, game should have been over on Fuller and then Randall Cobb. I mean, you would give him all the credit if you do a bubble screen. The guy took it 94 yards. How about give some credit to Randall Cobb? He did all the work. Rodgers did nothing.
Yeah, that bubble screen to Geronimo Allison there.
That was a pretty good pass.
The bubble screen.
Anyway, get triple action protection for optimal engine performance with Shell V-Power Nitro Plus Premium Gasoline. Here's your SportsCenter update. A tale of two halves in the Bears-Packers game. First, strong outing for Khalil Mack. 3 combined tackles, a sack, a forced fumble, an interception, which would return for a touchdown as the Bears led 17-0 at the half. Aaron Rodgers was carried off on a stretcher in the first half with a knee injury, but returned to lead the Packers' comeback. They were down 20-0. He threw 3 touchdowns in the fourth quarter. One of them was all Randall Cobb. And finally, according to TMZ, the fight between Nicki Minaj and Cardi B Friday evening at Harper's Bizarre Icons Fashion Week event began when Cardi B aggressively approached the table where Minaj and her crew had been sitting, allegedly shouting, "Let me tell you something." Although security managed to subdue her, Cardi B still was able to toss her shoe at Minaj, missing her intended target. Sources told Cosmopolitan that Cardi B left the party with a bump on her face and the back of her dress torn. What are you doing to me? Cosmo also reports that her wig was pulled off and she was escorted out of the event wearing only a single shoe. This weekend, DraftKings has over $2 million in total prizes. Get the app or go to DraftKings.com. Use code Dan to enter a contest for free this weekend with your first deposit. Minimum $5 deposit required. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com for details. For all the latest headlines and information, tune in to the SportsCenter on ESPN Radio all throughout the day.
What did I do to you?
I heard voices in my head.
Dan was reading along. I guess he was going to go to the Cardi B Nicki Minaj Battle Royal.
This is what happened. That is a great story you just told. But before I get to it, Cameron, put this on the poll, please, at Le Batard Show. Is Khalil Mack the closest thing you've seen to Lawrence Taylor? And do you know who Kate Spade is? Because Allison was just in here yelling at me because me and Stugotz didn't know who Kate Spade was because David Spade is going to be on with us, and he said his sister was Kate Spade, and do we know
sister-in-law?
Sister-in-law, and I'm like I don't know who that is, but everybody in the other room did, and we felt pretty ignorant. We're going to get to that in a second, but I'm going to read that again because I had it up on my screen because I just wanted those 2 paragraphs by themselves to stand alone with nothing around them. According to TMZ, Cardi B aggressively approached the table where Minaj and her crew had been sitting, allegedly shouting, "Let me tell you something." Although security managed to subdue her, Cardi B still was able to toss her shoe at Minaj, even if she missed her. Sources told Cosmopolitan that Cardi B left the party with a bump on her face and the back of her dress torn. Cosmopolitan also reports that her wig was pulled off and she was escorted out of the event wearing only a single shoe. It's just poetry. Like, it should win writing awards.
I like it like that.
Let's get 3 stories from that I've been promising since Friday from your trip to New York. The 3 best stories from Stugotz. I forgot to get to this before. I need to get to this. I also need to get to something else. Hold on, callers. Stay right there. 786-456-4837. We're going to play a game of Who Did You Discover Yesterday? What's a better name for this? Who did you find? Who did you discover? Like these... Or what did you learn yesterday in terms of Brandon Marshall's a Seahawk, Janikowski's a Seahawk, JPP's a Buck?
Bold faces, new places. How about that?
That's not what Mike said in your headset.
Said old places, new faces.
I like mine better.
Yours doesn't make sense.
It doesn't. Got a little ring to it, though.
Bold places, new faces. And how about how excited he was when he uttered that?
How about that?
Yeah, how about that? Like bold faces.
I get these voices in my head.
That's the problem with the voices in your head. That's exactly. There are actual voices sometimes in your head. Like,
and sometimes they're speaking louder than Mike is.
I know, but that's the thing. Sometimes it's Mike, sometimes it's Billy, but sometimes it's just crazy. It's the Stugotz demon that's running around there thinking about, like, man, I don't know about Sam Darnold tonight.
Oh, man. I mean, listen, I know how to feel about Sam Darnold, and what I feel is lousy, because this is going to be a complete disaster for the Jets. I don't like this. I mean...
The telephone number is 786-456-4837 here. Mike, help me out here, because I've been promising these people that we're going to go to them, and I haven't been able to go to them, and we'll get to what we need to get to after that. David, you're on ESPN Radio. What did you discover yesterday in bold faces, old names?
Ooh.
How about FAU's own Alfred Morris fumbling twice for the 49ers?
What?
Oh, that's right. Alfred Morris. But see, you're not a fantasy guy or a skill guy, or would Alfred Morris not be someone who would even be valuable enough to pick up in fantasy?
No, Alfred Morris is, he's got fantasy value, yeah. Because Matt Breda was supposed to be the running back, but Alfred Morris is clearly the guy.
He's now the guy because Jerick McKinnon, who's a Niner, got injured in camp.
So the game we're playing is, I discovered yesterday that Malcolm Butler was a Titan, but the reason, like, the skill guys are Brandon Marshall being a Seahawk isn't going to be surprising to you unless you don't play fantasy. You know where the skill guys go. You're going to know where Brandon Marshall goes.
Correct. Yeah, it's the defensive guys that are going to surprise you, and the kickers probably.
So, yeah, Janikowski caught me off guard yesterday. 786-456-4837. Not a flattering uniform for him. The Raiders uniform was slimming. Right? Oh, who did I see this weekend in college football? One of the best punters in the country is big fat guy. Oh, man. Who was I watching? Was watching in college football. And again, by the way, South Florida and Central Florida are vying to be the best teams in the state. I am so sad these days, Stugotz, that Florida, FSU, and Miami are afterthoughts.
Right.
Like
Florida State. How about Florida State?
But I'm saying that used to be running the sport. Those three teams, whenever they played, you had to pay attention on Saturdays.
It was the rare escape, then turned into a blowout from South Florida against Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech had that game. How does Georgia Tech not keep a lead, potentially a two-score lead, considering their style? Not built to come back from a two-score game, by the way, that offense.
The Amish offense? The Amish offense of Paul Johnson?
Who is this big punter you're talking about, though? I'm interested.
No,
Penn State? Penn State had a big punter for a while.
Man, I'm sorry. I'm drawing a blank. He was a hefty kid. And he was, he's a boomer. Jonathan, you're on ESPN Radio, Jonathan.
Geno Smith backing up Phillip Rivers every time one of their receivers dropped the ball. Southside.
See, that's a surprise because most people did not take Geno Smith in fantasy. I was surprised by that as well.
The Chargers, though, did drop so many Travis Benjamin, good Lord, they betrayed poor Phillip Rivers, who, again, because he's been stuck in this purgatory for 15 years of down 8-10 with no timeouts, has to go 90 yards. We were all rooting for that yesterday, weren't we?
Yes.
Most predictable thing in the world.
Every weekend.
Paul, you're on ESPN Radio.
Blaine Gabbert replacing Mariota on the Titans.
Oh, I didn't know Gabbert was a Titan.
Yeah. Not terrible.
Brandon, you're on ESPN Radio, Brandon.
Yeah, Antonio Pierce is now the linebackers coach at Arizona State.
That's right. That's right. Yes, we were looking for him on Friday. We found him this weekend, man.
Austin, you're on ESPN Radio.
Hey, Stan and Lou, I got a sleeper for you. Bruce Arians in the booth calling plays.
Bruce Arians was a broadcaster yesterday?
Yeah, he had the Browns game and the Kangol.
Really?
Can we talk about that Browns-Steelers game for a second? You tie the Cleveland Browns in this season of hope and expectations after an off-season of hard knocks with actual players who are interesting and electric. Go in and get a 5-turnover advantage against Pittsburgh and still merely tie and still merely poop themselves hoping that Pittsburgh misses a field goal that they did miss at the end. How do you have 5 turnovers more than the other team?
You're the Browns. That's how. Listen, they got off to a good start. I mean, really, that's a good start for the Browns.
Guillermo, put it on the poll. You're the Browns. That's how. Yes or no?
Catch more of the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz, 10 to 1 Eastern on ESPN Radio and ESPN News.
Support for the Dan Le Batard Show podcast comes from our friends at Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans. Let's talk about buying a home for a minute. Because of rising interest rates, there's a lot of unpredictability when it comes to buying a home these days. It's causing a lot of anxiety and stress for a lot of people. Well, our friends at Quicken Loans are doing something about that. They're calling it the power buying process. Here's how it works. Quicken Loans will verify your income, your assets, and credit in less than 24 hours to give you a verified approval. That gives you the strength of a cash buyer. Then once you're verified, you qualify for their all-new exclusive Rate Shield approval. This is very cool here. First, they'll lock your rate up for 90 days while you shop. Now, here's the best part. If rates go up, your rates stay the same. But if rates go down, your rate also drops. Either way, you win. It's the kind of thinking you'd expect from America's largest mortgage lender. To get started, simple. Go to rocketmortgage.com/Stugotz. Rate Shield approval, only valid on certain 30-year purchase transactions. Additional conditions or exclusions may apply based on Quicken Loans data in comparison to public data records. Equal housing lender, licensed in all 50 states, NMLSconsumeraccess.org number 3030.
Dan Le Batard.
Why do people still use yellow highlighters, pink highlighters, purple highlighters, blue highlighters, green highlighters, orange highlighters? Why are people using yellow highlighters?
Marlins fans, this is our year! Another one!
I love DJ Khaled. He's so dope!
Stugotz.
We the best! This is what I do, I yell!
Fire emoji, fireworks, flames, boom!
Derek Jeter! I made him a New Yorker! Marlins fans, I don't have much else than this!
We probably shouldn't have broke 10 minutes early last segment. Really threw off the clocks here. Now we have to fill for another 15 minutes.
Another one.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
I want to talk for a second about Serena Williams. She is as dominant as any athlete we've ever seen across the height of professional sports. What she has done is remarkable in a sport where the young get devoured. They're lonely sports. What her and Federer have done, continuing to play these lonely sports where you have to spend 4 hours by yourself every day just hitting balls on a court. It burns people out. It burnt her sister out. Her sister didn't have all the things Serena Williams has that has made her still this amazing thing that is underrated even as we glow about her. Like, right. You can't give her enough coverage given what that story is. Just the fact that it's been in your life for so long, the idea that a girl from Compton would make it to the top of that sport and stay there with a father we all thought was crazy, but clearly raised a couple of balanced young women through all of the stuff that comes with fame. So now she ends up this weekend, and the criticism is coming from a variety of sides, and the praise is coming from a variety of sides, because people are taking sides on the behavior of Serena Williams, which dwarfs the accomplishment of Naomi Osaka. All Serena and her sport need at this moment is for Osaka to be a legitimate challenger. Like, that's good for everybody. Yeah. This young girl who took selfies with Serena Williams and wept at the net when hugging her, wept at the net because she felt like a kid again, broke down in the press conference afterward talking about it. People are saying you only get that chance to have her moment yesterday once. Your first major is something you only get once, and we're talking about the sore loser. And we're talking about the sore loser, and now we're going to have to get in the entanglements of separating what is her noble and just cause and what was bratty diva behavior by a player who should have been penalized because she has a temper, and that she's a star does not exonerate her from the rules. And her lobbing sexism at the end, while her cause is worthy on the front end, and we can have a debate if you want about whether that would have happened to a man or not, when she lobs that in, it ignores how wrong her behavior was on the front end. And all of those things I just said can be true. Her excellence not in dispute, her greatness, and her her humanity, really, because she is a hero. That woman is her story. She's a hero, but that doesn't excuse her from behaving poorly and then people taking sides on the outcome.
Right. And to be clear, the coach is the one who received the penalty because he was coaching. And he acknowledged afterwards that, yes, I was coaching. And Serena didn't know that at the time. So communication is tough in tennis. But Serena absolutely, listen, her larger stance, her larger cause, she's absolutely right. And if she is right, if men are getting away with more than women are in that sport in terms of speaking to the referees, to officials, then it needs to stop now. But that was neither the time nor the place to take something. First off, she was losing, Dan. The other girl was playing really well.
But this is something that bears noting. This is a competitionaholic. You do not get to where Serena Williams has gotten and stay there. Unless you're on that emotional edge, man. I don't know how she stayed there. I don't know how you don't get lazy after having a child. Just like, bleep this. I don't need to be running around out there anymore. I don't need to be trying to come back here through these tournaments. What do I need any of that for?
Right. But the miscommunication was really, so she didn't know that the coach was trying to coach. She didn't know. And so the umpire, who is, by the way, has a squeaky clean reputation. I'm not saying he was in the...
No, wait a minute, though. Didn't she have another incident with him? Don't they have a history? Like, squeaky... I don't want to turn this...
Venus did. There were moments for both sides to sort of diffuse the situation, and neither really took the opportunity to.
Dan, I'm just saying, she lost her composure, and she could not get it back. And she slammed her racket, she broke her racket, and then she just went after that umpire, that chair umpire, relentlessly. Now, maybe men get away with it. And again, if they do, that needs to stop. But she deserved that penalty, in my opinion, based on what I saw.
Okay, but all I'm saying about the very need to take sides on all of this stuff is that all of the things that we're saying can be true. She could be a competition-aholic who is hugely frustrated and behaves like a diva, sometimes with a temper. And it doesn't stop her from being wrong for doing so, but it's also understandable, and I don't care whether she's penalized or not, but when you go in and grab the sexism conversation, then it becomes something outside of sports. Then she's getting applause for things that may indeed be so, but don't have much of anything to do with why she was penalized.
But my theory on what happened there is she had no idea that the coach had admitted to coaching, and he did, and what happens is you get a point, not all the time, but the chair umpire will take a point away from you. When she realized that, she turned it into a much bigger conversation about sexism. That's what you did.
No, but here's the thing, though. Here's the thing. The Williams sisters at every turn have been brought inflammatory race stuff. And very often they can make it a lot worse by saying, yes, I find that offensive. Or Serena can make things worse when the French Open is saying she can't wear a catsuit. All she's got to do to pour gasoline on that fire is say, I want to. She doesn't even have to go do it and incur the fines. All she has to do in this climate, with the hero that she is, if she says, I am not ashamed of my body, I'm wearing a catsuit, period. She can make all these things worse. She does not. But what I'm telling you is that when I feel like what happened at the end there is that is a frustrated athlete lobbing up an explanation for bad behavior. Because she was unhinged on the court. She's not used to losing. She has been dominant, and so the way that she came after people, and I will grant her this, Serena Williams, okay, being a black woman in just the extraordinary shape she's in, that is going to be received differently, yelling at an umpire or yelling at anybody, than, and that's just like an undercurrent of societal and subliminal stuff that we all have. It's going to be viewed differently than Maria Sharapova doing it, or even maybe John McEnroe doing it. Like, Serena Williams coming at you aggressively is going to put some people off, but it's also part of how she's run roughshod over that entire sport in a way that defies really words, because there is no athlete as better or more dominant in their sport than she's been in hers.
She recently had a child, and here she is back in the final. It's incredible.
But she went after the umpire aggressively, and it made people take sides.
This is not fair. This has happened to me too many times. This is not fair. This is not fair. But to give me a point to lose a game for what we're saying, that is not fair. I mean, it's really not. But you know how many other men do things that are, I don't think they do much worse than that. This is not fair. There's a lot of men out here that have said a lot of things, because they're men.
It's interesting, man, because it can be all of the things that I'm saying. It could be sexist, and it can also be bad behavior by her.
And also, there's no clear line because different chair umps handle different situations uniquely. Some people don't take Kyrgios's nonsense. Even Serena herself, who has been reputed to be this kind of sore loser, has gotten away with more in the past. It's just weird to see a point taken away in a final, and that's what. And her reaction, specifically the words, because she appears now, because as Dan said, she's had the opportunity to make things bigger. She's now finding her voice as a cultural icon.
It's interesting. It's interesting because so anyways, in that, Osaka gets buried.
Yes.
Osaka gets buried.
Who idolizes her.
No, Osaka gets buried. Okay, but I don't want to turn this into a blame thing. Why can't all of those things be so? Why can't it just be an athlete losing her temper and then using the platform the way athletes are using the platform in 2018? But it can be both things. That's not the best time. Her frustration is the most honest time to get that from her, but it's not the best time to get rational, calm down Serena with all the facts who can be like, oh, maybe I did break a rule there because my coach just admitted that I broke the rule.
But Serena is someone who has had plenty of great moments, and Osaka finally had her great moment, and Serena, because she wanted to make it about sexism, took that moment away from a girl who idolizes her.
Well, okay, but did she want to make it about sexism? I mean, she felt it as sexism. She felt it in the moment emotionally. She felt it as sexism. I understand why she'd get bent out of shape about that, but her, like I said, the behavior before that was rule breaking. She didn't know it at the time. Right. She didn't know that her coach admitted afterward, yeah, I was doing that.
But that's the problem. The lack of communication is the problem. First off, the coaches should be able to coach. Secondly, the lack of communication between coach and player is what kind of got them into that spot.
I love that you had to get in there.
The coach, it's ridiculous. I mean, if the coach wants to say, hey, Serena, go up to the net a little bit more, I mean, he should be able to tell her that.
I love that you had to get your opinion in there and coaching should be allowed, by the way.
I didn't think it was a place you wanted to stay very long, so I just kind of snuck it in. You didn't like that, huh?
Money, 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 money.
We got David Spade at 11:30. We're going to do weekend observations at noon Eastern. Stugotz has got the weekend observations. You know you've been waiting for them. We'll get to them. Noon Eastern.
Don Batard.
Allison, don't say anything else. You're not even at the microphone as Allison. I want you to get deep into character, and I want you to be Cardi B. Are you ready? I know you don't like cameras, and I know you don't like this moment, but just give me limited fake Cardi B as alleged by Guillermo.
Stugotz.
No.
Nailed it.
This is the Don Le Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
We've got a lot of football to eat up. Again, I want to ask you, where did you find somebody yesterday? Where he at? Have we come up with a name for this? Where he at is a different game. It's when someone disappears from ESPN without any notice. But yes, this game also involves Antonio Pierce. Where he at? He's on the sidelines with Herm Edwards. We learned that he left ESPN and where he was by just watching Herm Edwards on Saturday night.
Correct. We now know his whereabouts.
And so we're still looking all over the league for where he at. But did you see this Ian O'Connor tweet on Tom Brady telling a coach that if Aaron Rodgers had the institutional knowledge and the system that Tom Brady had, he would throw for 7,000 yards because he's so much more talented than even Tom Brady, by Tom Brady's own admission to an NFL head coach, according to Ian O'Connor. It's Tom Brady's own words saying Aaron Rodgers is twice as good at this as I am.
I believe it.
According to Ian O'Connor and according to his sources.
I was trying to explain to my daughter last night. I'm learning here, and it was Rachel, that I am raising myself. I tried to explain to her that even Tom Brady would admit that Aaron Rodgers is better than Tom Brady, to which she responded, but Brady's got 5 rings. And I'm telling her, I'm like, oh my gosh, she's heard me say that before. And
I can't imagine this, though. I can't imagine. Can you imagine Tom Brady saying someone is twice as good as he is at quarterback? Like, I am disputing the veracity of Ian O'Connor's sources publicly. Can you imagine Tom Brady saying that?
That
Aaron Rodgers...
No, I can't imagine him saying exactly like that. I can imagine him acknowledging that, yes, Aaron Rodgers has more physical gifts, is a better quarterback than I am.
He is not presently giving you the indication that he's getting along with management. He said he hasn't enjoyed the last couple of years. That's Tom Brady saying that to an NFL coach feels so absent of ego and so self-aware about his surroundings that it runs counter to how he's behaving in public now, that he would say, yeah, I'm a system quarterback. Like, that sounds like a 15-year-old quote. That doesn't sound like something Tom Brady would say now. Like, right? Am I wrong about this? Like that I know that Aaron Rodgers is better than Tom Brady in terms of physical gifts, just physical gifts.
Right.
But I can't imagine a scenario in which Tom Brady admits that anyone is twice as good as he is at quarterback and would throw for 7,000 yards if he were in the Patriot system, which I believe he's right about, by the way. If he did say that,
he said it
to an NFL coach, I would say that's a remarkable amount of self-awareness, because I do believe Aaron Rodgers with Bill Belichick would be this roughshod thing that would go undefeated.
Yeah, forget the system and even the plays. Just a play caller with more aggressive tendencies. So many games have been lost by Mike McCarthy just taking his foot off the gas pedal. You see what happens last night when they have to chase and it's just Aaron throw. Every
time Mike McCarthy calls a running play, I want to run to wherever he is and fight that Elvis impersonator. I want, stop handing the ball off. You don't have any running backs. You don't have any linemen that can block. You got one guy on one leg back there who has kept you employed with all this trash around him. Ted Thompson, he couldn't save him. Couldn't save the general manager of the Packers with all this trash around him.
But McCarthy's been saved. You're right.
I mean, it's 10 wins guaranteed a season, no matter where I put it. Yes or no? Aaron Rodgers, if he's healthy, 10 wins guaranteed a season, even if I put it on the Browns.
Yeah, not knowing anything else. Just knowing that you're guaranteed at least 10. It's kind of crazy that Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady have only played each other once. They've only faced off once because of injuries and the AFC versus NFC schedule. It's just never timed out. They're supposed to play this year, and that's going to get all the hype in the world.
Well, that's why they were on national television last night. There was only one reason. It wasn't Khalil Mack. There was only one reason they were on national television last night. And I'm telling you, Khalil Mack, that was going to be, I know many of you know in football how unblockable he is. Only Aaron Donald is more unblockable. I know many of you understand that guy is the second coming of Lawrence Taylor, but we haven't seen that kind of performance from him on the national stage. That was going to be his coming out party. I know you guys know how good he is, but in terms of a national sensation, until Aaron Rodgers took it all away from him. I felt bad for Khalil Mack when Cobb was running down the field, because he was the very last gasping tackler trying to get there, and he's like, mother bleep, Aaron Rodgers just beat me on one bleeping leg, and when he was out of the game, I sacked the quarterback, I returned an interception for a touchdown. When I was sacking the quarterback, he has so little pocket awareness that I simply took the football from him while he was falling to the ground.
Noah missed Deshaun Kaiser more.
Everyone was talking about how that's a moment in time. John Gruden realizes, I've made a tremendous mistake. But Khalil Mack kind of going to that division, having to play that guy 2 times a year now. That ain't great for Khalil Mack either.
There hasn't been something built that's better at that than Khalil Mack is. They're not, humans haven't produced, I don't know, Buffalo produced it. Humans have not produced someone who's better at that. That's crazy what he was doing last night. And then at the end, he's just gasping, chasing Randall Cobb's beautiful eyes down the field.
Don Le Batard.
Ooh. Guillermo, sassy.
Stugotz.
You're sexy when you're sassy.
This is the Don Le Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
I've changed my opinion on Norm Macdonald over the years. I was wrong about him too. Him and Kirk Cousins.
Big day for Minneapolis. I mean, this is the only day you've admitted to being wrong twice. That wasn't twice, ever.
First day in history, but I was wrong about Norm Macdonald. I once thought he wasn't funny, but he's legitimately funny.
Before it's too late, make sure you get your NFL and college football tickets at Vivid Seats. Vivid Seats even has an exclusive offer for our ESPN listeners. It's simple. Go to vividseats.com, enter promo code ESPN at checkout. You get 10% off your order. Vivid Seats is the official ticket partner of ESPN.
I'm sorry I'm laughing.
Okay.
No, but I'm legitimately laughing out loud in the middle of your update because of the Kaiser pass straight at Mac. I was laughing. There wasn't comedy on the screen, but there was. It was just Deshaun Kaiser again showing he's not ready. Brian Kelly did say that, and we made fun of him, that he needed another year. Deshaun Kaiser, honestly, how bad is your pocket awareness when you decide last night after watching that first half, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to run toward Khalil Mack. He's blocked, but I'm going to run over there. Oh, ball out. Like, that was almost as bad as the butt fumble to me, everything that happened there.
Nothing's as bad as the butt fumble. For all the latest headlines and information, tune in the Sports Center on ESPN Radio all throughout the day.
You're not willing to entertain the possibility with me that it...
No.
Okay, nothing's as bad as the butt fumble because there was a butt involved. We will get to David Spade in a second. Who feels worse today? It's Bills fans, right? There's nobody who feels as bad today. Is there anyone who, like, what's second place? What is second place on I feel terrible today about my entire football season?
See, if I'm a Bills fan, I'm feeling like, hey, I have a direct path to the number 1 overall pick next year.
Oh,
it's like the 5 or 6 win team that kind of feels lousy today, and they know they're
which is which after one game of the season, I'm talking about how a fan base feels. There can't be anyone more despondent today than the Bills when you know you don't have a quarterback. And you go into Nathan Peterman is a league-wide joke. Played in that ridiculous snow game, had his face frosted on it, threw 5 interceptions and a half when they benched Tyrod Taylor.
I will tell you, as a Browns fan, in the 625 days that they haven't won a football game, I think yesterday's game was the one that hurt me most outside of Coleman dropping the pass to go to 0-16. And we didn't actually lose. And I guess I can't...
Really, Mike?
Yeah, because I know we came back with 14 points in the fourth quarter to even that game, but they had so many opportunities, and every opportunity that they took, whether it be fair catching with 30 yards in front of you or a block in the back, any opportunity they had to make their lives even more difficult, they would. It's like this team just can't get out of its own way. I was brought to my knees when they blocked that kick.
I'm stunned that for all the losing, you've won one game in 2 years, that the tie is the one that would hurt you. Like you tied Roethlisberger at home, but that 5 turnover advantage. What was Baselli texting you, Stugotz, complaining about Aaron Rodgers, that meathead Baselli in Jacksonville?
He was saying, drop Kyle Fuller interception from the narrative being completely different. Tell Dan to get off of it.
I mean, okay, fair enough, but that has more to do with media stupidity than it does with the greatness of Aaron Rodgers. Like, yes, there was a drop pass and he got lucky on that, for sure. But I don't care about narratives. I know what's so, and what's so is that my beloved Valentine on one leg used that one leg to kick the butt of Khalil Mack and the Bears and send them home.
He threw it 8 yards. Cobb did the rest.
David Spade has a new movie out, Warning Shot. It's going to be in select theaters and video on demand this Friday. You could also download his audiobook, A Polaroid Guy in a Snapchat World. Now, oh no, is David Spade feeling old? He's feeling old. A Polaroid guy in a Snapchat world. Oh no, you're not old. You're a notorious ladies' man at the height of fame. No, you're feeling old.
It's not cute anymore. I'm trying. I'm turning into Norm Macdonald. Norm Macdonald looks like my dad. I saw him about 3 nights ago.
You're not boyish anymore? You're not still boyish?
No, the only thing I have going for me is people think I'm Bieber sometimes, but then they get within 100 yards and go, oh, whoa. No.
Wait a minute. Don't you also get mistaken for Beck?
I get Beck a lot. I get Brad Pitt infrequently. And I get anybody that's sort of a punk.
Have you ever played it off like you are actually Beck?
Oh, come on. Why would he? Well, that's actually
Why
funny.
not?
That's funny. It might be fun.
Because I wouldn't know what to talk about. I would run out quickly when they ask, and then I would just somehow talk about bench warmers.
David, can you tell us? We were just talking about Norm Macdonald when you came over here, and we were talking about.
Yeah,
how
I just saw.
I was wrong about him, though. I used to think he wasn't funny, and the joke's on me because it seems like all comedians find him to be a comedian's comedian, and he is funny. He's unbearably funny.
Yeah, he's got a new Netflix talk show. I actually just did it, but I posted a trailer for it because he's got a lot of good people, and he talks to you forever, and he's still a total weirdo, but that's why we like him because he's a guy that I'll text, or he'll text me and go, David, you want to go out tonight? David, you want to go to dinner? And then I go, yeah, for sure. Then 4 days later, he goes, 4 a.m. Where are you? I go, first of all, you never answered. You never showed up. And then you act like I'm bothering you. I go, I don't like it anymore.
He is.
So he's done that since day one. He's bananas.
Is he the weirdest cast member you ever worked with?
Yeah, I mean that I was day to day with, like, when we did a stand-up tour with Sandler and Schneider and Nick Swartzen and Norm, we would all make fun of each other, obviously. And then when Norm would get off stage, Schneider was the MC. And if he bombed ever, because sometimes, they either really buy into him or they don't. And he goes, "Hey, Seattle, you never know which Norm Macdonald you're going to get, and tonight you got that one."
Who in the group though? Comedians who are friends. Like, is there one guy in the group or woman in the group that all of you say, "Yeah, this one, he's funnier than us. He makes us laugh more than the others do"?
Well, there's fun. There's funny in person and there's funny on stage, and usually it overlaps pretty well. But there's some where, when comedians get together in this new PC world where comedy is getting like drained down to about 7 jokes that you can pass around that are acceptable. When you're together, they will say any joke that's the roughest joke. So that's the fun of being a comic with other comics, is that when you're inside that world, you get jokes about tragedies not a week later, but like 15 minutes later. Nobody cares about anything, and then they slowly bring them on stage, and then that might be a bit early, but the fact that when you're in the mix, it's so brutal and so harsh between each other. That's really the fun of it.
That's soul crushing to hear from you on a couple of fronts, though. One, because you sound old, saying PC world right now, but you're right.
Yeah.
You're right. What you're saying is right, and then I mean that's
well.
funny.
I've seen some stand-up specials now that are just social commentary. There's just no jokes. You're like, what happened? I am old. I tell jokes, but I've got it used to be just be as funny as you can for that long, but now it's sort of turning slowly into more soapboxy and a little politics, a little this, a little this.
That's interesting.
Which is okay. That's the world, but I have to make the switch, and that's harder for me. I really don't get political. I really try to keep it. I barely have any fans. I don't want to lose half overnight. You know what I mean?
Well, it's interesting you say that, because Kimmel's been rewarded for going politics. Colbert's been rewarded for going politics. Why, David Spade, can't it be that comedy is a safe space where you crack on stage the same way, the stuff you're talking about here, that the best comedy is done immediate, the most inappropriate comedy is the best comedy. Why can't you be doing that? Why can't that envelope be pushed in comedy? It's the only place to push it.
It should be. I mean, I don't care what anyone says. If it's on stage, I do not care. They can offend, they can do this, but that was the beauty of it. And now, and I love Kimmel and I like these guys, it's not for me. And also, if you just say Trump's a moron at a comedy club, you get applause, and it gets too easy. I would love to do race jokes, and most black comics do race jokes. Barely any white ones do. I think it would be. I would love for everyone to make fun of everything like the old days, but you just can't. So I understand that. And when I go on, if you go on Instagram, it's like, here's what dumb white people do. Here's dumb white girls at a brunch. I'm like, is this the only thing left we're making fun of? That's the only safe one. You can't just do any type of joke about anybody. So it's very tricky. So I try to navigate it on stage, not to get too heavy on you, obviously. But it's a new world, and every year it gets a little trickier. And I want to see the Bill Burrs. I want to see the guys that don't care as much and just say whatever they want to say.
I really want to have a longer conversation with you, David, but
I know, I'm sorry. We sort of stumbled into that, but it's okay. Anyway, fantasy football, Le'Veon Bell.
No.
That's the conversation I want to have.
New movie warning shot, select theaters and video on demand this Friday, and a Polaroid guy in a Snapchat world. Well, we will continue the conversation if you're willing, but go ahead and tell us about these 2 projects you're working on.
Warning Shot is a drama. R-rated drama, which I never do, and believe me, no one was asking, but I did it. And
you bad guy, bad guy.
Yeah, it's my peppermint. No, it's I am sort of a bad guy in it, and I do have a gun. I'm not full Jennifer Garner, but I do have a gun, and I loved it. We did it low budget in Texas, and I saw it the other night at the premiere. And I think it's cool. It's just a little different for me, and if people see it, why not? It's on video on demand. It's in some theaters. But I had a great time. I mean, I've been doing the same move for about 22 years, so I shook it up 8%. But I'm running right back to my regular move. Do not worry.
Okay. David, we appreciate it. Before we get you out of here, though, we were talking last week about the death of Burt Reynolds and whether the Jeopardy skit is the all-timer.
Oh, I did hear you guys talking about that. That's one of the best. You know, Rolling Stone did a top 50 skits of all time, sketches, and I'm sure that was on there.
But give me yours. You can only pick one for all time to represent Saturday Night Live. You could choose one of your own if you want, but one for all time. What would you choose?
Well, I'm biased, so I would take something from my era. I would take maybe Chippendales or Motivational Speaker.
Yeah, I mean, Farley's Body. There's not going to be anything funnier than Farley's Body.
Yeah.
Right?
But then when I was there with Farley and Sandler, we were loving, anything with Dan Aykroyd, anything with Eddie Murphy, Belushi. So, there's so many. It's so objective, but there's some really, really home run hits out there with the old sketches.
David, thank you for being on with us. Hold on just on the line for a second. We'd like to talk to you off air real quick.
Cash more of the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz, 10 to 1 Eastern on ESPN Radio and ESPN News.
If you love football, yelling at television screens with friends, and wearing clothing with someone else's name on it, there's a seat waiting for you at Buffalo Wild Wings, where you can enjoy football food and football beverages on our new $5 game day menu. Cheeseburger and fries, brats, cocktails, and pitchers of beer are just $5 each. Escape to football and the new $5 game day menu at Buffalo Wild Wings. Price and participation vary by location. Not valid with any other offer. Please drink responsibly.
Dan Le Batard.
You are the best, and when I say the best, I mean the very worst and most evil.
Stugotz.
The worst.
But this time, it's for real.
Worst.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Guests on the Dan Le Batard Show appear via the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. Here's your SportsCenter update. Week 1 in the NFL wraps up tonight. Monday Night Football doubleheader. Jets at Detroit, 7:10 Eastern on ESPN, followed by Rams at Oakland, 10:20 Eastern on ESPN. Couple of NFL injury notes. Leonard Fournette has a hamstring injury. Doug Baldwin sprained his MCL. Greg Olsen has a walking boot on his right foot. And Deshaun Jackson sustained a concussion.
I mean,
this league, man.
You could do that every week. Every week you could do that and just list names, and we would hear the body broken in the NFL.
And finally, John Legend achieved EGOT status last night at the Creative Emmy Awards. Legend won the Emmy for Outstanding Variety Live Special for his role as a producer on Jesus Christ Superstar Live. With the award, Legend became just the 13th person ever to earn an EGOT, which is winning an Emmy, Grammy, Oscar, and Tony. And he did so before the age of 40, cementing his place as the youngest to ever complete the EGOT. Legend is also the first black man to win an EGOT. Not at home? Not a problem, because now you can get pizza delivery to over 150,000 unexpected outdoor locations like parks, beaches, and more with Domino's Hotspots. Visit Domino's.com for details on Domino's Hotspots. For all the latest headlines and information, tune in the SportsCenter on ESPN Radio all throughout the day. He got all the awards. How about that? There you go. Roy, what are you mad at? Roy's mad. Everyone's mad at me. I don't even know what I did.
You skipped the first story just based off pronunciations of the names in the trade.
Nope. I was being a company man and promoting our doubleheader on ESPN tonight, NFL. That's what I was doing. I saw your report. The names did scare me, and then I turned into company man.
Excuses. Just excuses. Liar.
Wow. Does the EGOT award news, disappoint you? It makes me sad, because I realize, I'm never going to be talented enough to win all 4 of those awards. I could luck my way into 1, maybe, but you can't luck your way into 4. You got a suey. I'm never going to be that good. Exactly. I got a suey, but, I'm never going to get... I think Tony is really the problem. I don't think I'm ever going to write a successful musical. Actually, you know what? I think I could win a Tony. Yeah. I think maybe the Grammy, unless I write it's like a spoken word Grammy, maybe if I write a book. I'm not giving up on this
Get
yet.
out of here. No, give up on this bit and go sit for the remainder of the segment. Just go sit there. I don't know what the bleep you're talking about.
He got 2 minutes.
Weren't you listening?
Get out of here, Guillermo. You're a real disaster this segment. Get out of there and just sit in the other room. That's the only contribution you've made to the show today, and it was epically bad. Like, you came out of the weekend. You haven't been listening to any of the show. You've been drowning in useless sound back there, trying to catch up. We can't even do useless sound today because you're so far behind. So now useless sound is a Tuesday feature because you're too busy being incompetent to get it done.
It's a Tuesday feature?
Yes.
It cannot be a
It's
Tuesday
no longer a Monday feature because Guillermo's too busy being awful at his job.
No, it's because we want to get that Monday night sound. That's the only reason.
You guys have to keep in mind, we lost Pagano. It's
Sorry.
we're going to need the extra game.
Apologies.
Time now for Stugotz's weekend observations.
It is time for Stugotz to share his game notes. No one in the media will tell you what happened better than my boy Stu.
Weekend observations brought to you by Vivid Seats. Need game tickets? Find your seats at Vivid Seats, the official ticket partner of ESPN. Enter promo code ESPN at checkout and receive 10% off your order today. Vivid Seats. Dan, the witching hour is back.
Yes.
Speaking of back, the Red Rifle. Yesterday.
What?
What do you mean he's back? Did you see what he did in that game yesterday?
Oh, come on.
No, the Red Rifle is back, and quite frankly, the Bengals are back.
Okay.
Seriously, Joe Mixon, A.J. Green, they got some skill position players, and Tyler Eifert is finally healthy. First time in his career. Red Rifle back. Yesterday, only one coach locked up his job for another decade. Congratulations to Marvin Lewis. The Browns ended a 2-year losing streak by not winning. Red Zone Channel, I missed you so. Congratulations to Herm Edwards, who, after coaching 2 college games, has as many wins over Michigan State as Jim Harbaugh. LeBron James and Kevin Durant rapping together became public. If they ever formed a rap group, they should call it 3 Rings. Of course, representing the total amount of combined championships they've won, according to my personal record book. Most boring thing in sports, Wisconsin football. Most frightening thing in sports, Aaron Rodgers in the blue tent. Jay Cutler, Green Bay Packers, collision course. Got carried away there. Rodgers came back.
Wait, you wrote that one before he came back in the second half?
I wrote it the second he went into that blue tent.
Why didn't you just edit it out? Why'd you leave it in there?
I don't know.
Okay.
I liked it. Kyler Murray, best quarterback in college football. Tua might be the best quarterback I've ever seen. Shea Patterson saw signs. Tennessee Titans, best uniforms in the NFL. Minka Fitzpatrick, more like Minka Fitzcanton. Remarkably, Minka was the second best Fitzpatrick to play football yesterday.
That is crazy.
No one takes the Hall of Fame more seriously than Chris Carter. CeCe. Deshaun Watson, 1-year wonder. Saints Bucks, fireworks. Buffalo Bills, bad. Frank Gore, every yard you gain gets you 2 feet closer to Canton. So funny about that. Jarvis Landry had 106 yards on 7 catches. With the Dolphins, it would usually take him 32 catches to rack up that much yardage. Le'Veon Bell, James Conner is not your friend. September 18th, 2016, the last time J.J. Watt had a sack. The rare game for Mike Tomlin, where he leaves a stadium and his players are neither dead or alive. Must be tough for JJ to live under the giant shadow of TJ.
That must be very confusing to him. He says all we're trying to do is trying to get out of the stadium. alive. And I don't know. Did they yesterday? I don't know. I mean, sort of.
Neither dead or alive.
No, just sort of in this strange purgatory.
If the Dolphins and Titans played 6 hours of actual football, the score still would have been 10-3 headed into the fourth quarter. Patrick Mahomes wins you championships. Alex Smith wins you first-round playoff losses. Patrick.
What?
Hall of Fame. Alex Smith will win you first-round playoff losses. He wins divisions, then you eventually get knocked out.
Defending Alex Smith's greatness for 5 years.
That all changed with one flick of the wrist to Tyreek Hill.
From Mahomes?
Yeah.
How does he win you a loss?
That's what he wins you. He wins you a first-round loss. That's what Alex Smith does. He'll win the Redskins a first-round loss this year. Book it. You'll see. He wins you. He wins divisions. Mahomes, he wins championships. Why? Patrick, Hall of Fame. Serena Williams, if you are right, and men do get away with more than women, it should absolutely be fixed, and it doesn't make what you did right, because it was wrong.
There you go.
Serena, it would have been a great platform for sexism if sexism actually occurred. You lost your composure, so you decided to make about you and that. Meanwhile, a young girl who idolizes you had the biggest night of her life ruined by all of it. I can't unsee Delaney Walker's lower leg. Nathan Peterman, 2 NFL starts, 11 of 32, 100 yards, 0 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. Tariq Cohen played like a man who had a healthy dose of matzo ball soup before the game. Khalil Mack is going to spend the remainder of his career making John Gruden eat it. No running game and no defense. Andrew Luck returned to the same team he left. Marcus Mariota is always questionable to return. Juju Smith-Schuster, he is.
No, you're
put
right.
that on the poll.
You're right. You're right. Guillermo, put it on. Well, when you get back, Guillermo, put it on the poll. Is Mariota always questionable to return?
Juju Smith-Schuster. That's how you bring in the new year. Mazel. We found a role, finally, that Meryl Streep can play. Tennis fan. The Dolphins burning a timeout on one of their first plays following a 2-hour weather delay. Dolphins, the Stugotz is strong in you. Jimmy Garoppolo.
Oh,
what do you mean? What happened there? Jimmy Craps. Since September 18th, 2016, the number of people that have had the same amount of sacks as J.J. Watt is everybody. Dan Mullen. Hope you are renting. 3 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. Still not sure if the Broncos are a quarterback away. Aaron Rodgers, dancing in the pocket, prettiest thing in sports. Des Bryant, trolling his former team, while no other team is willing to sign Des Bryant. Des, the Stugotz, is strong in you. Serena Williams coach, great hair. Poor baseball. Monday Night Football doubleheader tonight. Feel like I'm going to die and go to heaven tonight. I'll make sure I say hello to Gary Busey when I get there.
All right.
Dan, those are the weekend observations.
Nice. A change-up.
Yes.
Dollar bills, y'all. Dollar bills, y'all.
And also the first time it's ever been funny. DraftKings is all about getting you
don't
money.
like it? I mean...
Don Le Batard.
I would absolutely take down my own school as a journalist if I find out that there was financial aid problems. Are you kidding me? I'm not hiding that story.
I totally leverage that information for money.
Felony blackmail.
Yep.
Stugotz.
He's got to be the only radio personality in America who freely admits to, I'd commit crime. He's got to be. That's the niche.
You got the goods, man.
All the other spots have been taken. He's like surveying the landscape on where can I plant my flag.
I got this one.
Right. Nobody else wants this one. Why is there no one here? Wow, this looks like such a great land. I could just claim all fraud and crime.
Worked out well for me.
This is the Don Le Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Guest on the Dan Le Batard Show appear via the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. Here's your SportsCenter update. Week 1 NFL wraps up tonight. Doubleheader, Monday Night Football on ESPN. Jets and Lions. Raiders and Rams. BMW Championship final round in progress right now. This is big. Billy Horschel is your leader, 18 under par. He's 5 under today. Tiger Woods just 2 back. He's charging right now in the back 9. He's 2 back, 16 under right now, just 2 off the lead. And finally, Tesla shares got burned last week in a sell-off that took its stock down 13% and cemented its position in bear market territory. Mark Tepper, the president and CEO of Strategic Wealth Partners, warns investors to steer clear of the embattled car maker. I wouldn't touch this thing with a 10-foot pole. Right now, this company is the absolute epitome of instability. We like buying companies with a good growth story, strong management team, that are reasonably priced, and Tesla doesn't get a check in any of those boxes, Tepper said on CNBC. Tesla shares plummeted nearly 7% on Friday after its chief accounting officer announced his resignation after a month on the job. Its human resources executive will also not return. The 2 high-level departures followed a rocky month for Tesla, largely due to CEO Elon Musk's actions. Musk tweeted in early August that he had secured funding for a go-private deal, a notion he later walked back and shelved, and then Musk smoked weed while recording a podcast with Joe Rogan.
You know what they say. Buy low, sell high. I'm Elon Musk.
Before it's too late, make sure to get your NFL and college football tickets at Vivid Seats. Vivid Seats even has an exclusive offer for our ESPN listeners. Go to vividseats.com and enter promo code ESPN at checkout to get 10% off your order. Vivid Seats is the official ticket partner of ESPN. For all the latest headlines and information, tune in to the Sports Center on ESPN Radio all throughout the day.
Let's go ahead and do funniest thing from the sports weekend. Everybody get ready, get fired up, strap it on, baby.
Hey, people, tell us what in the sport made you laugh hardest this weekend. It is a segment we call What Made You Laugh This Weekend. Ha, ha, ha!
Funniest thing from the sports weekend is brought to you by the Capital One Quicksilver Card, earning unlimited 1.5% cash back on every purchase everywhere. What's in your wallet?
We got to get to Mike Ryan's 3 stories about Stugotz from that upfronts that weren't upfronts. We also have to get at Chris Cody's angling toward private time with Eric Rydholm, executive producer to the Stars, at Charlie's wedding. We'll get to that in a second. But first, because that might have been the funniest thing of the sports weekend.
I think so.
Our ginger oaf trying to get close to Rydholm to pitch him an idea. Wait till I say what the idea is. Well, the idea is that Friends movie.
Wait till you hear the pitches they had, because they needed icebreakers. So they needed some softer pitches before they went to Friends, and the ideas they came up with are the worst.
All right, we'll get to that in a second. But Chris Cody, what was the funniest thing from the sports weekend?
Kentucky ending their 31-game losing streak by beating Florida in Gainesville.
Yeah, I mean, I remember when football in this peninsula used to matter. Florida losing to Kentucky, FSU wheezing past, was it Samford?
Yeah, Sam Ford.
Yeah.
Guillermo, what do you got for us?
So yesterday the Titans played the Dolphins, and they were delayed about 17 hours. And for those of you locally down here in Miami who stuck around to see the end of the game, with about 2 minutes left, for whatever reason, Fox cut out the end of the game to air the premiere of a show called Rel. And then came back with like 30 seconds left. So you couldn't see the game or Rel.
The Dolphins deserve that. They started at 1. It ended after 8 p.m. The Red Zone channel, which they were never on. There was no point that they were only on the Red Zone channel when there were kickoff returns for touchdown.
By the time they came back to the game, I was like committed and invested in Rel.
That's right. I've got something good from the Dolphin game. Mine's from the Dolphin game, too. Go ahead, Roy.
The FSU turnover backpack.
It's so bad. It's so bad. They're so bad. Was Willie Taggart wearing a whistle again on the sidelines? Like he didn't. Is. Is he?
Willie Taggart.
What does that mean?
That means he wears a whistle.
What are you talking about? He's Willie Taggart. You're offering nothing.
You've never seen Willie Taggart without a whistle, I promise you.
Mike, Guillermo, put it on the poll. Does Willie Taggart go into the bedroom wearing only a whistle? Mike, what is the funniest thing from the sports weekend?
Skip Bayless yesterday on Twitter, he refuses to give Aaron Rodgers any credit for anything, saying it was all Geronimo Allison, basically. But also, during the, he's a big Cowboys homer, during the first half of the Cowboys-Panthers games, Skip declared on Twitter, the Panthers are going to have to lose this game if the Cowboys are going to win it.
Wow!
$6 million a year. Stugotz, what is the funniest thing from the sports weekend?
I got two quickly. Mike Ryan landing in the wrong airport Friday night, traveling to Charlie's wedding. That is laugh out loud funny. The Stugotz is strong in you, Mike. And Andrew Bynum.
I didn't do it. You thought I flew the plane?
I don't know. I just figured, maybe you booked the wrong city or something like that.
No, it was weather delay. Why is
it on here then?
I don't know.
Okay. Andrew Bynum is
on here? I thought it was just what you thought was the funniest thing from the sports weekend. Why is it on here? What does that mean?
No.
Did you not have any funny thoughts of your own this weekend?
I did weekend observations, 12 o'clock. Andrew Bynum is attempting a comeback, and here's the thing about his comeback. He's 30.
I feel like that's $2 for Stugotz. Blaming someone. Why is it on here?
Don't be like that. Got a little cash on me.
You do have a little cash. It's $2. So Larry Zonka, if you're not familiar with the work of Larry Zonka is a dinosaur. He's a dinosaur with a mustache. He is more of a man than any of you will ever be. Okay? Yeah, I'm going to put that on the poll. Is Larry Zonka more of a man than any of you will ever be?
That's not 100%.
Man, he was lost at the Bering Sea. And he has no time for anybody, as we can play for you now. Mike, get that terrible Zonka remix, because he had no time for my questions about introspection. But Larry Zonka tweeted exactly what you would expect him to tweet as everyone on Dolphins Titans is running indoor. Delay of game for weather? Shula didn't even cancel practice for Lightning. And then he signs it Zonk with all capital letters.
Love that man.
Right? Again, he was lost at the Bering Sea. They had to, give 50-foot waves, some sort of insanity. They had to go in there with helicopters to find him, because where was Larry Zonka? He was filming an outdoor show, because of course he was. Larry Zonka led one of those Super Bowls in arm hair. He is a man's man, and he has no time for my bad question. Zonk. Of course he signs it Zonk, all capital letters.
Dollar bills, y'all. Dollar bills, y'all.
Stugotz is the dirty, rotten scoundrel. I told you this already, but sometimes dirty, rotten scoundrels need a good night's sleep. That's why Stugotz, the dirtiest, rottenest scoundrel of them all, got himself a mattress from Casper. Tell them, dirty, rotten scoundrel.
Thanks, Dan. Sleep cool and comfortable every night on a Casper.
The broadcasty. Thanks, Dan.
Thanks, Dan. What is that sound in the background? Oh, man. Football's back.
Don Batard.
Good work today. That was a fun show.
Stugotz.
It was also intergalactically stupid.
This is the Don Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
Let's update the polls here and see if we can get to some of these stories at Le Batard Show. Let's go ahead and update. How many polls do we have today, Stugotz?
I think 5 or 6 we have. The Twitter poll at Le Batard Show is brought to you by Discover Card. Discover thinks annual fees are ridiculous. If you do too, find out more at discover.com. Would the University of Miami have smashed Savannah State if Chris Cody played quarterback for the Canes? 82% of the audience said yes.
77-0 that game was. That seems unfair. College football needs to eradicate that immediately. It's cruel.
Did the Steelers and Browns all go on the field and poop together throughout overtime? 97% of the audience said yes.
Wow, that's a big number.
It was fun poop.
Who had the better stat of the day? Stugotz, Dan, Mike.
You want to do them again? You want to try them again?
We could try them again real quick, sure.
All right. Which were the competing stats of the day for the audience? Mine was since 1999 and the reentry of Cleveland Brown Stadium, the quarterback with the most wins at Cleveland Browns Stadium is Ben Roethlisberger. It is not a Browns quarterback since 1999. It's Roethlisberger.
Mine is courtesy of Bill Barnwell. The Browns are +5 in takeaways today. He tweeted this yesterday. Since the Browns returned to the NFL, teams with a turnover margin of +5 or better in a game are 132-4-1. The Browns are responsible for 2 of those losses and that tie.
And mine was the Browns are off to their best start since 2004.
And they're also in last place. They're also in last place.
Hey, tied for last place.
Attaboy. 51% of the audience chose mine. Did you like that? Guys, never happened before.
No, come on, man.
50% of the audience viked it.
Okay.
50% of the audience
No.
didn't vike it.
Not possible.
Yep.
Not possible.
How can that be? Just start a football season. How can I?
That's not possible. It's wrong. It's some sort of clerical error.
It happened.
Can you refresh?
No, it's not. It can't
No.
be right. Let's move it on. Let's move it on because that's wrong.
You okay?
No.
Okay. You're the Browns. That's how. 92% of the audience said yes.
It was good analysis from Stugotz.
Yep. Is Marcus Mariota always questionable to return? What's our record?
Such a good line by you. Such a good line by you.
This is at 98% yes right now. That ties a record.
All right.
How about that?
Okay.
Oh, wait, there's more here.
There's more.
I didn't realize that. Billy just put him in last second here. Hold on.
All right, at Le Batard Show, you can vote all night if you wanted to climb higher, break a record, make it 99%, because it can't be 100%. There's always 3 of you out there who are going to sabotage that for us.
Is everyone who says that a bleep hole? 92% of the audience said yes.
Yes.
Hopping on the bird.
Hopping on a bird. There he is. Bleep hole Cody back there.
So I refreshed it. Still 50-50, Mike, just so you know. It's amazing. Quite a day here. Would a woman ever say, hop on a bird? 87% of the audience said no.
Allison said that. Allison alleged that.
Does Willie Taggart go into the bedroom wearing only a whistle? 94% of the audience said yes.
Mike, give me 3 stories. Give me 3 stories from being at the upfronts that weren't upfront with Stugotz.
You want the Zonka poll results?
Sure.
Is Larry Zonka more of a man than any of you will ever be? Great question. 85% of the audience said yes.
It really is. Again, they kept an entire Super Bowl. I think Greasy threw 7 times. They just kept putting the football inside of his inordinately hairy arms. And he would just bulldoze like a grizzly bear through the defense. And that's how we played football undefeated in 1972.
Hairy arms.
The arms were so hairy. It was like trying to tackle somebody who was moving into you with a shield that was covered in rug. He would just run straight ahead with the ball squarely in his stomach, and people would pound at it through the hair, but all they would hit is forearms, and that was undefeated. The only undefeated team in the history of the sport, undefeated, never lost.
Rain, shine, lightning, thunder, he didn't
care. He didn't care. I love Zonka saying, that's such a Zonka thing to say, too, isn't it? Lightning delay. Shula wouldn't even cancel practice when there was lightning.
He also wouldn't let his players drink water because it was a sign of weakness.
I know, of course. I mean, there's nobody who's ever been more football than Larry Zonka was football. Are we got to celebrate Greg Cody on his birthday. It's a big day. He doesn't like to talk about his age. He's an old man. He'll be in here tomorrow, but let's sing Greg Cody a genuine happy birthday. Not one of these Stephen A. Smith happy birthdays. One for Greg Cody, a special one.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Cody. Happy birthday to you.
18 hours at a Dolphins game yesterday, but how are you spending your big day today, big boy?
Oh, I'm just working.
We'll talk to you mañana. This was the Dan Le Batard Show on ESPN Radio.
We live in a racist country.
You can listen to the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz 10 to 1 Eastern on ESPN Radio, and you can watch on ESPN News.
Ricky always wanted to play baseball in the majors. He was playing catch before he could walk, practically lived in the batting cages. He was behind home plate more than he was home. And one day, after all that hard work, he found himself walking into a Major League Baseball stadium. After buying a ticket at the front gate. A nosebleed seat obscured by a pole, but he was in there. No, Ricky never did play in the big leagues, but he did switch his car insurance to Geico, proud partner of Major League Baseball, which saved him a lot. So, all in all, things were good.